Hey guys, it's Christina. How's it going? One thing I think some of us teachers can struggle with is having boundaries, like balancing home with school. And this is something I think I've done pretty well at. I'm not perfect at it, but I do feel like I've really put some techniques in place. So I'm just excited to talk about how I've balanced my home life with my school life. Okay, so I've been going through some of my videos from the past and trying to update a few of them. So the one I just updated was keeping my classroom cleaner. And so I thought the next area I could cover again would be balancing home with school. And I feel like that's such a huge thing for teachers because I feel like we have so much to do and not a whole lot of time to do it. And it's sometimes hard to let it go and just fully focus on home. But I feel like there's some things we could do to have more balance and more boundaries. So I'll give you a few little tips on some things I've done that I've really liked. Okay, step number one, I would suggest deciding on a time you want to leave every day and actually stick to it. I think that's a really hard thing for some teachers to do. So for me, I decided I will leave by 4 o'clock every day. Unless, there's certain circumstances, but you can't like stretch it too much. But like for me, I decided, okay, like if I have a meeting, of course, like you can't leave in the middle of a meeting. Or if it's the end of the term, that's a little bit different. But like regular everyday stuff, set a time to leave and actually leave at that time. So at 4, I'll start gathering stuff up and head out the door. If I'm in the middle of a project, I'll hurry and finish that project. But if it's gonna take more than 5, I just stop. Even if I'm worried about something for tomorrow, I feel like you can always figure it out. Like, let's say you told the kids that you'd have a science test graded. That kind of happened to me recently. Then the next day he'll say, okay, actually I need a little bit more time. So we will do those next week, and then make it more of a priority to get it done. But I feel like you'll figure it out, and I feel like some teachers think like, oh, I can't leave this, I have to get this done today. Well, not necessarily. I just feel like we have to be able to let go of things and actually walk out the door. So, yeah. I do have one late day I'll stay, and usually I'll pick the late day on a day I know I have something going on. For example, if there's a faculty meeting, usually we have them on Wednesdays, then I'll think, okay, I'm gonna stay late this Wednesday because I have a faculty meeting. Or, okay, Tuesday I have an IEP, so that will be my late day. Or Friday we have the wax museum, and so that will be my late day. So I just pick one day I'm gonna stay late, and then other than that, be out the door by 4. And I don't take anything home with me. And I do hear about a lot of teachers that want to grade stuff at home and stuff, and that's up to you, of course. But for me personally, I just wanted to have really firm boundaries for myself where I could just have time to just do home stuff at home, And so I don't bring anything home. So that's what I personally do. So that's the first thing. Okay, also another boundary I've set for myself is on the weekends, I'll just bring one thing to grade and one project that I need to do. That is it. I will not take anything else home. And if it's a holiday weekend, I will not bring anything home on a holiday weekend. So the only times I bring stuff home on a weekend is a regular weekend. And it's just 2 things. That's it. I decide on 2 things I really need done so that way I can enjoy my weekend. And doing that where I leave on time every day and then I'm not bringing stuff home and I'm not bringing stuff home on the weekends, you might be thinking, well, how do you get things done? I will tell you that next. Okay, one reason why I feel comfortable about leaving every day by a certain time is I feel like I try to be really proficient with my time, and I try to have priorities. I think that's really huge. So what I would do is sit down at the beginning of the day and list a few things you really need to get done that day and start them from the very beginning of the day. And I would list these as things that like have to be done, not things that would be nice to be done, but the things that just have to be done. I think about that. I think that's huge. So that way you're using your time well throughout the day, and you're not doing random things that don't need to be done. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh no, I had to do this. You know, of course that happens from time to time, but I feel like if we're thinking this way at the beginning of the day, we're going to use the time we have well. And then by the time we leave, hopefully a lot of those big tasks are done. Another way it's more doable to be able to leave by a certain time is to be a planner. Like really, really plan things. For example, if you know you have more work at the end of the term, which I do, I'll just use that as an example. Towards the end of the term, I always have a bunch of work. So what I do is I put a sticker in my planner the week before, and that's when I have the reports printed out. And then a week before that, that's when I want all their assignments in. And then a week before that, so I'm kind of like planning things along the way, so that way I'm not putting myself in a bind. Or if I know, okay, I have a class every third Monday of the month. So I don't want to have a bunch of homework to do the night before. So what I did is I decided, okay, every Saturday for my project that I bring home, I'll do an hour of homework. Then by the time my class rolls around, I'll be all ready to go. I don't know, I just think it's important to plan out some of the big things that are happening. And so we're not procrastinating, but we're planning. And so when you leave, you'll think, okay, well, I have all this stuff in place, so I can be okay with leaving, you know, because I have a lot of stuff planned out and I'm doing it little by little. That's one thing that's helped me. So I've been using this tape every once in a while if I'm gonna do liner and shadow, so that way it doesn't like make too much of a mess. And I've really liked the way it looks. So it looks funny right now, but that's okay. Another thing that's really helpful is to be really efficient with your grading. I actually have a whole video on that. So I'll have to put that in the description box. But if you're efficient with your grading, I feel like you're not going to need as much time to get stuff graded. So I think that's huge, just knowing little techniques that you could use so that you're not spending all your time on grading. And I think sometimes leaving early, sometimes you might not have everything all planned out perfectly. So sometimes you will have to wing things. But for me, I tell myself, you know, like it's worth it if I'm taking care of myself, like mentally and emotionally, and getting home by a certain time. To me, that's worth it, you know. And when you learn to be more efficient with your time and everything, you'll still have time to lesson plan and make your lessons really good. And I feel like we all just kind of learn over time how to be more efficient. So, yeah. I also think it's very important to have help in place. So for my grade level, we have an aide that we share, and we also get some school aides for a little bit of time as well. Not a ton of time, but a little bit of time. And so, I mean, that helps. And so what I do is I actually have a little bin at the back of the room. So when they come back, I have all the papers I maybe need graded or filed, and I have just a quick little set of instructions on it, and they know every time they come in that you can just go back to that bin. It's great. It's great. So they pretty much grade a bunch of stuff for me, file a bunch of stuff for me, and put it into their binders. So by the time the term rolls around, I don't have as much to do, and when they're done grading it, I just enter it into the online grade book. So if you don't have access to like an aid or, you know, help from the school like that, then I would suggest, you know, having the parents come in to help out with things, or sending a packet of papers home for them to grade. It's policy for some districts, of course, to not like take an assessment home for them to grade, but like little assignments or projects for them to help grade. Yeah, I think they're more than happy to do that, and it'll help you so you don't have as much of like a workload, and you could focus on other things besides just grading all the time. Because I think some teachers take on all the grading themselves, and that's a lot of work that you could be spending doing other things or going home at a better time. So. So I just got my hair done, which I'm very excited about. But I think I'm just gonna do some random loose curls throughout. I'm kind of doing some looks lately where it doesn't have to be perfect, and that's been great because I feel like I always have to have everything perfect, and it's, I don't know, that's too much. So I just gonna go for some looser curls. I'll brush through these. So. Well, I've been going for looser curls, but we'll see what happens in the end here. But another really huge way to keep more of a balance from school to home is to not check my emails. Or if I do, to check it just once, and it's like within an hour of me being home. Just because I feel like when you do that and you get an email that is stressful, it's hard to relax and enjoy your night. And I feel like when you're home, you should be home, you know, and whatever it is, you can take care of it the next day. And so for me, I try not to look at my emails. I'm not perfect at this, but I try not to look at my emails as much. And then also when I'm at school, I try to do the same thing where I'm trying not to take care of home things at school, so that way I can just put all my time into whatever I need to do at school while I'm there. So just doing whatever it is at that specific location. So like being in the moment more. I think that helps. Okay, this is the final look. I basically just have a black blazer that's kind of oversized. I really love these rings and earrings. So, okay, well, I hope these tips help you, especially if you're trying to find that balance. I feel like once you put some things in place and you really stick to it, it helps so much. So, okay, well, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't, and thank you so much for watching.